you for popping by. Do appreciate it. And Isolation, thank you for the follow too. I'll give it one more try. Yeah, it's I think if things don't go well on this run, I will just park this. Maybe do something else if you're not in, oh, if you're in the mood for something non-AI. Yeah, it depends on how long this goes. If it just like, I don't know, realistically the earliest it'll die is mission 7 or 10. Maybe mission 3, but I'll probably play it a bit safe. But I don't know. But if you fancy just enjoy chilling here, thank you. I do appreciate it. Because I know I can do this. But it's such a mentally difficult category. And I don't know if it's healthy to do. I may just have to say, I got a run. It's a shame I can't submit it to the leaderboards because OBS crashed. And accept the fact that I know I have got a decent time, whether it's official or not.
Non l'ho vista. Vado a vedere.
Man, I just need I need a bit of luck. This week has just been devoid of anything lucky. I need something to just work.
Taylor, buongiorno.
Ripensato che non ci vedo proprio niente di buono questa giornata.
You know those weeks where just nothing goes right? That's this week.
Hai visto Samuel? Sarà sveglio da ora, immagino.
Pare che ci siamo.
Come Samuels, there we go. Hey, Shy. You're amazing. Sorry about the OBS issues. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's this week's just been a nasty one. That's really slow, Samuels. Sod it. I'll run it. I'm not in the mood to reset. It's 325, which is not good. That's really slow. Whatever. Yeah, between, well, Monday was a bit crushing. Work was also nasty on Monday. Tuesday I had my driving test, which, well, it happened. I won't rant about that again just yet. Yeah, it's been, you know, one of those weeks where just if something can go wrong, it will find a way of going wrong. That's been this week. It's, yeah, been a frustrating one for sure. So I'm very, very much looking forward to the weekend. Just doing something chill, really. To go back on the driving lesson rant. For anyone who wasn't, driving test rant. So for those of you who were here about 3 hours ago, I do apologise. But you're about to hear it again. But for anyone who wasn't here 3 hours ago, I had a driving test on Tuesday, and I was really prepared for it. I felt really good going into it. And the instructor failed me for something the examiner failed me for something I didn't even do. And I was gutted. But he was, the examiner was just like 70-something odd year old man who is just a massive bigot. What'd they say? So what they said that I didn't look both ways at a junction, but I very clearly did, and more so, they weren't even looking at me at the time. And it was the very first turn out of the test center, which I very clearly did because I was like, I do not want to fail this. But they failed me for that when they weren't looking. But they were just a right piece of work, because they first and foremost made a comment about my driving instructor being female, which, for starters, the hell? What are you doing? Why? It's not that hard to just not say something like that. Just, so that already put me in a slightly like, okay, this is not a good start to the examiner. And then he made a comment about me wearing leggings, because I was wearing athletics leggings. And I wear my athletics leggings sometimes on stream because they're really comfy. But additionally, I had athletics that evening, and I was like, okay, I just want to be chill, comfy. I'm not going to make a whole nother set of clothes dirty when I don't really need to. And it's not like you need to be in formal attire for a driving test, because for God's sake, you want to be comfortable and not stressed. So he made a comment just being like, unusual choice of clothes. It was something along those lines. I don't remember it. But I remember just being like, okay, that's a bit weird. Why are you commenting on me wearing leggings? Is it any of your business? And basically from the moment he started talking to me, he was just like so condescending and just like, I could feel in the air that he just hated me off the bat. Which, sounds like he failed you on purpose? Yeah, exactly. And so I want to say, of course I would like for it to not be the case, but I almost expect that he failed me because of just like not even my driving. Because I felt like my driving was really good. I made like 1 or 2 minor mistakes, and like that's not what you fail on. They mark it down as like, here are 1 or 2 minor mistakes that you could have fixed during the test. This is what you should have done. This is how you do it. And it's like, sure. People like that instructor me wants to commit TOS violation. Yeah, it's it was just such an awful thing, because regardless of like what people are wearing, regardless of who they are, what gender, race, sexuality, anything, I mean, just in general, it should not be discriminated against. But in a driving test where none of that makes a damn difference, what the hell are you doing discriminating based on that? Like, seriously. It makes me so sad that some people have no other purpose in life other than to cause others suffering, just for their own enjoyment, or for their own satisfaction, or for their own whatever. And that just makes me sad. Like, marking me as failed before I even got in the car is awful. Like, really awful. It's just such a soul-crushing thing. Because, well, I mean, it just is. I feel like it doesn't matter what I did, how good I could have been, how good I was. The fact that I was failed on something just unrelated is, Awful. Have a driving test coming up in a couple of days. Hopefully, instructors and decisional. Yeah, exactly. I hope it goes well, and I hope you have a nice examiner, because sometimes you do just get those examiners that are just awful. They just live for the power trip. And the frustrating thing, in the UK at least, is there's no way of doing anything about it. The examinee has no power to contest anything. It very explicitly states, test results are final. You can make complaints, you cannot contest the result. Awful. Awful, awful. Like, that's... When you put all of the power in the examiner, and the only way you're allowed to contest things is with hard proof, and you can't have any hard proof, because you're not allowed to record without the explicit permission of the examiner, who, if they're a massive arse, will just say, no, sod off. And there's nothing you can do about that legally. Which is awful. It really is. And it means that, well, I mean, especially for me, it means I now have to spend a lot more money on driving tests and a couple of driving lessons just to make sure that my examiner's actually okay taking me to the driving test. Oh, sorry, the instructor's okay taking me to the driving test. Because you're still kind of at the mercy of the instructor as well. Recording would be a good idea, yeah. So, recording's it's an annoying one, because good examiners will say yes. But good examiners also won't fail you for no reason. If they fail you, it will be for a legitimate reason. Whereas bad examiners will just say, no, go away. And there's nothing you can do. But it's already such a flavor test at that point that you know if you're about to get screwed over. But there's just, it's hard. It's very hard. Lunch and James is still streaming. Yeah. Yeah, it's that sense of just almost like powerlessness. Can you refuse to do a test without recording it? Yes, but you'll lose the test and you'll need to rebook another one. And it'll cost you £160. So, in theory, yes. In practice, no. You can't rebook it or request another request for another examiner. It just doesn't work that way. What are we talking about? Driving tests. Yeah, so I had a driving test fairly recently, and the examiner failed me before I even got in the car, which, as you can imagine, is not very fair. But yeah, it feels awful. Just that he judged my ability to drive based on what I was wearing that day. Which, man, yeah, it sucks. It really does. It really, really does.
Stai attenta a come la usi, però. Non dobbiamo farci vedere. Andiamo.
Yeah, it's not fun at all.
Da questa parte.
E ora?
Controllo il condotto. Dovrebbe essercene un altro qui intorno. L'ho segnato per non dimenticarmene.
It's such a backwards thing. Like, yeah. I don't know. It just makes me upset. Really, really upset.
una buona idea restare troppo a lungo qui.
È così che tutti si spostano.
Yeah, it's like if I had made a serious mistake, then I'd be completely okay with it because I would have been failed on a valid reason. But the fact that he just made something up
Allora è la tua nave,
is what hurts me the most.
Qualcosa.
But there's nothing I can do about it.
Capito, va bene. Dobbiamo raggiungere gli altri, qualcosa non va.
I would like to sign an examiner had to step in.
Non lo facciamo innervosire, ce la faremo. Promesso.
Seguimi.
Someone's petty palace. Exactly, yeah. It is just annoying. Very annoying. It's also mad how expensive it is to book a driving test. Like, it's ridiculous.
Meglio controllare. Tutti con me.
Went good before it, yeah.
Zitti.
Yeah, for mine, everything went really well. Like, I did basically everything correctly, but he just marked me as failed.
Da questa parte.
Quanto manca?
Ci siamo quasi.
Which, yeah, nasty. Could get them fired if they get enough complaints. Unfortunately not. They've already had about 200 complaints.
Quegli stronzi ci hanno
But
isolati.
because there's no hard evidence, because
Dobbiamo attivare le due centraline.
the examiner just keeps on choosing to not allow for there to be any hard evidence, there's nothing you can do. Word of mouth is apparently not enough, which
Al mio 3,
personally I find ridiculous.
2, 3.
Like, if you've literally had hundreds of people complaining about this examiner, and I spoke to, there was an instructor just after the test, and he said, did you have that guy? And I was like, yeah. He said, he failed you, didn't he? I was like, yes. And the person said, what a and I was like, okay, fair enough. But apparently, even according to that instructor and another one that I spoke to afterwards, because there were just a couple of instructors in the car park, everyone thinks that this guy is a massive, massive arse and should have been fired. But the instructors can't do anything about it, because if they say something they shouldn't, they then get their license to teach revoked, and then that's their livelihood gone. And I mean, it's not like students can, students can't really just say like, hey, I don't want this examiner, because then you just marked as failed and then move on. And so there's no way of actually removing him, which is awful. And there are so many layers of protection on the examiners so that you can't do anything. It's awful, really, really awful. Video, so if you want to record, you have to ask for permission from the examiner. The examiner can just say no, sod off. There's nothing you can do about it. How do we save time? What? That was like the worst mission too. How do we save time? But yeah, they can literally just say, no, go away. And then legally you're not allowed to. They can actually raise legal action if you record without their consent. And the last thing you want is a court order. If you believe recordings don't need to protect your rights, you're allowed to record. I wish it was that way. Because I would have absolutely just recorded the whole thing. Because I know that he was in the wrong. Wouldn't let it go, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not exactly in a position where I can just take things to court.
successo. Voleva forzare il sistema di sicurezza dell'ascensore. I circuiti sono distrutti, no problem. Devo solo trovare una nuova cellula dati.
Puoi veramente rischiartela così?
Ok.
Have your team of liars.
Di qua. Era il piano di sotto.
There we go. Acceptable. You have my axe.
Credo sia andata di sotto. Forza.
God, I would take an axe to him.
No, non ci vengo laggiù.
Something my instructor genuinely said, and I know this sounds like I'm making it up, but she said it to me in the car afterwards, was, God, I wish someone would just shoot him. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, he's a twat, but Jesus, I didn't realize that she also felt that strongly.
La scatola nera.
Something would probably also be on fire.
Cosa? Cosa?
Yeah, it's like, he is extremely hated by everyone. And it's like, So the direct action, I know, right? Because that same guy has failed.
Resta concentrato.
My instructor said that she's had a run-in with having that guy, and he's just failed people for no reason, like multiple times with her students, and like for things that should count as so for UK driving tests, there are things known as minors and majors. Majors are just straight up fails, but minors are not straight up fails. If you do multiple of the same minor, that can constitute a fail. So for example, forgetting to use your indicators on a turn. If you do that once, it's like, okay, fine. You just forgot that once. Don't do it again. But if you forget it 3 times, then it's like, okay, you're actually just not using them. And that's actually a major thing. But he just fails people for minors. And it's like, what? So he actually listed 3 reasons as to why I failed. Number 1 was the not looking, which I clearly did because I saw that he wasn't looking at me. Number 2 was one that was it actually really pissed me off, but it pissed my instructor off more than it pissed me off. And that was driving too slowly on a national speed limit road. So in the UK, there are country lanes, which are like really small lanes, very narrow, not really wide enough for 2 cars. And this one was really overgrown with like hedges both sides, curvy roads. You couldn't see around the corners. If you'd gone at like any more than about 20 miles an hour and someone had come the other way, there was a collision. So I was driving at like just under 20, fairly slow, I do get that, but I had to be able to stop. And there was one point where a car was coming around a corner, basically the same speed as me, again about 20 miles an hour. We both slammed on the brakes the second we noticed each other, and we were very close to hitting each other. So evidently I was doing the right thing, not going faster than I should have. And he then said, no, it was a national speed limit road, you should have been doing the speed limit. And I was like, what? You expected me to do 60 on that? I couldn't do 20. Why were you trying to tell me I should do 60 for God's sake? Okay, fine. We're going this way. I'm bailing. But that was just one of those, like, the hell are you even talking about? Grow up sort of moments. I can't even remember what the third thing he claimed I did was. I can actually look it up when there's some downtime. In the Hughes cutscene, I'll look it up. Because I've still got the email of things they claimed I did. Which, oh my god. My instructor was livid afterwards.
posso aiutarla?
Devo raggiungere l'area comunitaria.
Like, she went on more of a rant than I did in the car, just being like, this is fucking ridiculous. How dare he claim that you did that? Because she wasn't even observing the test, by the way.
È stato modificato.
She was not in the car at the time, but she knew the things he claimed were just things I do not do. Like, not looking, I always look. In fact, I potentially look too much at times, where I'll just be like, I'll check an extra time left and right when I should really just get moving. And it's like, she was livid. Nice hack, I want more of those.
Fammi passare.
Did a lot of explaining what you can improve on, even address that you're really good at controlling the car. Yeah, that's really nice. Like, that's exactly what examiners should do, I believe.
Sta indietro. Ti
Let me
avviso.
find it. Tuesday. What was it? Gears, that's it! So they claimed I was looking at my gear stick too much. I didn't look at them. When driving a manual car, I don't look at my gear stick. I just know what gear it's in. I never looked at it, and they were like, yeah, you looked at your gear stick too much. I'm like, what? It's the most ludicrous thing. But yeah, this examiner didn't explain anything at the end. He just said, you failed, you did this, this, and this wrong, and then just walked out of the car as I was asking him a question. And I was like, what are you doing? This is just obscene. Yeah, as you can probably tell, I was not happy about it. And I'm still not happy about it. But at least I'm like, I can at least like smile a bit while telling the story. Whereas like, on Tuesday, I was just sad. You can't even properly drive a car if you're looking at the gear stick. Exactly, yeah. It's like, the number one thing you do when learning is stop looking at the damn gear stick. It's like the number one thing instructors teach. It's like, okay, stop looking at the gear stick. Do it by feel and nothing else. Like, it's just obscene. Right. I'm going to attempt to not rant about that for a little while. I might give some commentary about the game, who knows? I may just say my time sucks occasionally, and that way it at least seems like I'm paying attention. Because on a scale of 1 to 10, I've probably paid like 2 out of 10 attention to the game in the last like half an hour. Thank you for the follow, by the way. I do appreciate it. Come on, little fella. Woo-hoo-hoo, that was a bit close. Not happy, not happy! Don't get in here with me! Ah! Oh my gosh. I was just in like full on no panic mode. Oh my god. Okay, that was a bit close for comfort. Do I even save her? Oh, sod it, I'm not saving. The worst that happens is we use an extra bullet, and I'm not first. Oh my gosh. I was just in like full on like, where's the button? Please! Walk now. It's what you do in the first 3 to 4 lessons. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And go. Ah, oh, damn it. He's going to be a jerk and appear here. I tried to get the wrench swing so he would actually get attracted in the opposite direction, but oh well. Oh. Because yeah, one thing that the driving test is actually meant to test you on is being safe. Not necessarily being like a perfect driver, but as long as you do things safely, you should pass. And I am not like the speediest of all drivers. I'd say I'm a bit of a slow driver at times. Not as in I just drive like 20 miles under the speed limit or whatever. But I won't accelerate anywhere near as harshly as you potentially could. But yeah, it's I'll move on eventually. Wouldn't even know what gear it's in, yeah. Like, the only time I even look at the gear stick is when I'm reversing. Oh, sorry, when I'm getting into reverse. And it's like, even then, it's because I'm stationary. If I'm not stationary, I'm not looking at the gear stick.
Mi serve un medico, capito? Mi serve...
Non ti sento, aspetta.
In we go.
Vieni su, ti ho aperto l'ascensore.
Oh. I just want to get back to like mission 14 and to actually do well in it.
Lascia perdere il coltello. Gli ufficiali hanno sigillato tutto. Usa il coso.
I didn't even need like a perfect run. I just want something that doesn't feel awful. Oh, okay, that's on me.
Bene.
Sono Coleman.
Ripley, devo trovare un medico.
Sono un medico.
Una mia amica ha bisogno di aiuto, di attrezzature sanitarie.
Car gives a sound when it's in reverse. Ah, that makes sense.
Ma c'è ancora molto di sotto nell'ambulatorio dell'ospedale.
Come ci arriviamo?
Sì? Ti sembra che io possa esserne in grado? Mi serve il tuo aiuto e a te serve il mio.
I do apologize. I'm just slowly like eating a mince pie.
Il servizio e scenderò con te all'ospedale, ok?
Codice d'accesso?
Sì. Posso dirigerti da qui. Morley o Lingard potrebbero aver...
I saw mince pies in the shop when I went shopping yesterday. I was like, go on then. It may not even be Halloween yet,
Andrà avanti a sinistra. L'area è
but I do quite like mince pies occasionally.
instabile. Bene, lungo quel corridoio.
I'm not like a huge mince pie person, but I do like them every now and then.
Morley, il codice d'accesso dovrebbe essere lì intorno. Hai trovato il codice?
It's actually a good question of like,
Ci servirà anche la tessera.
how many people here do actually like things like mince pies?
Rilassati. Sto solo cercando di scoprire cos'è. Tu concentrati sulla tessera d'accesso.
Instead of just pulling enough. Yeah, so in the instructor's car that I was using, the gear stick, you had to like pull up on it and then go all the way left past first gear in order to get it into reverse. No, you want mince pies? Oh no. Yeah, I saw them in the shop and I was just like, ah, go on. Yeah, up.
Dannazione, ma lo sapevi che quella cosa era lì?
Good, and now we just kind of chill.
Potesse essere lì, è diverso.
Sounds and feels weird, I know, right?
102, ok?
Yeah, some cars have different ways of going into reverse.
Certo, una promessa è una promessa, mi dispiace per averti messo in questa situazione. Passo nell'altra stanza per inserire il codice e preparare la
Is it weird that I almost feel like ready for it to be Christmas?
Ecco, raccolgo le mie cose.
Oh, there's a great song by someone called Tom Cardy, whom I would hope that someone might know. But he's essentially, he's a guy on YouTube who makes dumb but fun songs. And he wrote one called Not Quite Almost Christmas Time, which the whole premise of the song is about it being not quite Christmas time, but almost Christmas time and still wanting to celebrate Christmas. Which is me right now. It's like, it's not quite Christmas time, but I kind of want it to be Christmas time. But yeah, I'd highly recommend some of his stuff. He's a good laugh. Also actually makes unironically very good music.
Samuels, c'è una certa Lingard, ufficiale medico superiore. Devo scoprire dove tengono tutto nel suo ufficio.
Buona fortuna, Ripley. Sbrigati se puoi.
And it's like 21 degrees outside. I know, it's actually really warm here too. It's like, I think 17, 18 degrees, and it looks lovely outside actually. We are starting to get some like rain clouds, but they're mostly scattered. There's weird like backgroundy static, and I can't tell if it's my end or the game bugging out. Oh, it's definitely the game. Okay, reload fixed it, that's good. Yeah, it's just like, what is that sound? It's so weird. Like, it's not the music, right?
Samuels.
Damn, my luck has actually been very nice. I've not had humans in the middle for a couple runs now. There are humans there for anyone who's actually curious about the game and not just me talking about my driving cast. There are humans in this area which can spawn in 4 different locations. And as we don't really have many resources to deal with them, and dealing with them is slow, we really want to avoid them. So 3 of the 4 spawns are workable and honestly fine. One of them is very awkward though because it's right in front of where we need to go. So we can't really do much about it. And we kind of just have to either reload or try to lure the humans away. But it's really dodgy, so most of the time we just reload. But that's exactly why we're taking saves here. Because they're in fairly convenient locations whereby it's not that bad to just reload and try and go again, essentially. Been waiting to learn a few things as a casual player. Well, if you are someone who's playing this game casually, A, I'm sorry, because this is not how you normally play it casually. But B, also, feel free to ask questions. Like, I am more than happy to answer game-related questions. Or non-game related questions. Sound warning, by the way, in 3, 2, 1. Really, Steve? For anyone who didn't catch that, he just killed a human before dropping her. He's just like, screw you in particular. top 49 basement NMG. Nice, congrats. Super mega ultra unlurker vibe. Nice, welcome back. But yeah, like, as I was saying before, loudness. I'm always happy just to answer questions, help with anything game related. I mean, especially if you're just like, hey, how do I even speedrun this game? What do I do? How do I get into it? I'm more than happy to help. You can even ask for elephant facts if you want. I mean, I can't guarantee I'll give many elephant facts because I don't know that many, but any and all questions are always welcome. How do you speedrun this game? First things first, I know you're asking somewhat ironically, but as an unironic answer, play it through. Start to finish, know where you need to go. That's probably the hardest part. Just knowing, where's the next objective? Where do I actually have to go? And if you understand roughly where you need to head, that gives you such an advantage. And just that alone, even if you then just know, okay, I know I need to go here, but how do I do that? Then the next step you can do is just try walking. Anywhere where there is an NPC that you're scared of, whether it's a hostile android, whether it's the alien, you can get away with just walking most of the time. Now, obviously within reason, if they're right next to you, they'll probably still hear you while you're walking. But if anything's in the vents, they can't hear you while you're walking. It's really, really good. And then from there, once you do that alone, you can walk from objective to objective, and you'll be able to beat the game in like under 4 hours.
Devo sistemarlo.
Sure, there'll be some things that you won't know how to deal with, such as the alien in certain spots, but as a general rule, you can get away with so much. I'm gonna try something here. Oh dear, this has not worked. Ah, damn it! I got stuck in a box. I was like, wait, I can make this work. Wait, that actually works. I really like that idea. It's dumb as hell. Oh my god, really? They took so long to shoot me last time. Okay, I'm just getting trolled by Mission 7 now. Don't see me. Oh wow, he definitely saw me. No, I crouched! Oh, I don't like this. Because I can't do anything about this pattern. Like, this pattern is one of the worst. Wait for it. Really? You shot me instantly? Oh my god, okay, so that's a no-go of a strat. It nearly worked first time, but it's just not, it's not going to work. Jeremy's in such a nasty position here where I really don't have any tools to deal with him. Because see, he just saw me there. And there's nothing you can do. Because the second one human sees you, the others will get alerted. And I don't really have any tools here. Even if I take it slow, he'll just see me as he walks by. So this is almost what you want. I could have just played it slow, I suppose. I should have, but... It's just so awkward, I didn't think I'd be able to do it. Because you can kind of just chill here. No, you can hear they've already seen me, and then this strategy doesn't work, and we're dead in the future. Oh, Run is unfortunately dead. That's the problem with this Jeremy spawn position. There's just nothing you can do. You are simply screwed. Yeah, because one shot is death. Even though it's not instantaneous death, you are dead in the future. Cheers for fucking by Merrick, do appreciate it.
Che casino.
Yeah,
Stiamo ca-
this spawn is just like, I don't even know what you can do about it.
Sono morti anche loro. Qualcun altro ha seguito.
Obviously I'm looking too much here, but... Man... I don't even know how to deal with that.
Che casino. Stiamo ca- No. Sceso.
Because,
E ora
yeah,
sono
with no
morti
items, we
anche
have no, like, noisemaker, flamethrower... Oh, not flamethrower, flare. This time he didn't even come around the corner. The semi-randomness of this position is just nasty. Because this is exactly what I wanted. Shoot. There we go. Oh man. If only that hadn't taken 3 minutes to get. That would have been amazing. The worst thing is that's exactly what I did in the first one and it just failed. Do I keep it going? I can't keep this going realistically, can I? Yes, no. I mean, technically I can still PB, but I'd need everything else to be flawless. And I actually mean flawless. Because we've lost so much time. We've lost 4 minutes. Not quite 4 minutes, it's like 3 minutes. 3.5 minutes. Which is a lot. An awful lot. But... it is technically recoverable. Though it does pretty much require perfection. And especially when it comes to Nightmare. I do not have that. No, the 254 is not the displayed run. No, I ended up not saving those splits. Oh, yeah. So it was like a 258. But that's what I'm counting as PB. Yeah, so it's mostly a question of, would I still be able to get sub 3? And with this mission 7, it's not looking good, I'll put it that way. However, a Deathless mission 10 would drag this back up a bit. Because losing 2 minutes of time, oh well, sorry, losing 2.5 minutes in mission 7 is really bad. Really, really bad. Arguably even more. I should be finishing this in less than 5 minutes. Even with slow strap. Oh, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know.
Ci serve una navetta per andare al QC, ma è fuori uso. La sala controllo navette è di sopra. Samuels dice che sei nel
It's because it really takes... I've essentially lost all of the ability to make a mistake or have a death. Which is nasty. Because I very much need that leeway. Hey Arkampan, how you doing? Hmm.
Qualcuno l'ha staccato.
So che c'è qualcuno qui dentro. Che cosa hai fatto?
I'll see how things go in 10. If things go well in 10, I'll keep it alive. But we are approaching the point at which I can't really have mistakes, which is bad for low percent. I actually don't know the range at which Joes can hear you while walking in Nightmare, so I may have cut that a bit early even.
Ripley qui è Waits, la navetta è arrivata e stiamo aspettando te.
Saliteci, ho avuto dei problemi e ci vuole un po' a tornare.
Ti aspettiamo.
Taylor non può, salirò sulla prossima.
Come vuoi.
Yeah, really we don't know what is even going to happen to this run until after mission 9. Mission 10 will determine so much.
Ripley, andandocene, abbiamo sentito delle voci, sta attenta.
Because I know all too acutely that given my previous PB of a 258, 2.5 minutes is not a good thing to lose. I don't even know if sub 3 is possible. It probably is, but with safety strats, probably not. Definitely not with deaths. Or maybe I can allow like 1 or 2 minor deaths, but definitely nothing major, which is not really what I want it to be.
Ripley, siamo nel dipartimento dell'ufficiale. Alla fine delle scale vai a destra, non puoi sbagliare.
Niente comitato di benvenuto.
Vieni qui e basta, passo e chiudo.
Stiamo calmi. Siamo al sicuro ora. Wait,
Ci hai pensato tu?
Un piano.
Hai fatto
Davvero?
funzionare le
I suoi
navette.
piani del
Bel
cazzo
lavoro.
non hanno funzionato molto finora.
Come state, Eva?
Stabile. Tornerà in forze molto presto. Samuels è con lei ora.
Ok.
Sei riuscita a far funzionare la navetta, quindi siamo pari.
Dov'è Riccardo?
Prepara la prossima mossa. Senti, ho da fare. Ho Marlow in cella, il farabutto che era in possesso della tua scatola nera.
Dov'è la nave di Marlow? L'Annesidora.
È in un'orbita di parcheggio intorno al gigante gassoso. Quel figlio di puttana non vuole darci i codici di comando per avvicinarla qui automaticamente. Magari puoi provare
Ok.
tu a convincere quel bastardo inutile. Va a parlare.
Oh, that's my bad. I moved too early.
Marlow?
Chi mi cerca?
Mi chiamo Ripley.
I forgot about that last line of dialogue entirely.
Sei qui per quella scatola vuota. Siete proprio astuti, devo dirlo.
Oh, I don't want Mission 9. Mission 9 just sucks.
Davvero.
It's just a huge load of time.
Cazzo. Non abbiamo trovato la sua nave, Ripley. Solo la scatola nera.
Ma sono certa che abbiate trovato dell'altro. Che è successo là fuori?
Devo andarmene da qui, Ripley. Magari possiamo accordarci.
Intanto parla. Voglio sapere tutto.
Still losing a second. I'm not quite sure how,
Mi
but
dicevi, Luis?
we don't question it too much.
Facciamo piano. Voglio arrivarci tutta intera.
Se vuoi qualcosa di intero, Foster.
Oh dear. Well, if you, like me, are going to fall asleep during Mission 7,
Ok, piantatevi.
I don't blame Mission
Concentratevi sul
7.
motivo per cui siamo qui. Non voglio errori.
Mission 9, I don't blame you. So if you need to grab a drink, go, I don't know, dig a hole to another continent. Now's a good time.
Eccoti qui. Foster, Mix.
We rave. I don't have like any good rave music. One step ahead of me. I just want to get to M10 at this point. Have a good M10 and then feel motivated again. Because we are, yeah, a bit over 2 minutes behind, which is nasty. No dialogue is not promising.
Cariche non ce la faranno, sta.
Do un'occhiata qui. Magari ce l'ho brutto dentro. Aspettate qui, mi serve uno. Ice, aiutami a salire.
And we don't look at Heist at all. It doesn't actually affect anything. I just don't like looking at Heist. This means that I can just react to my pain and suffering rather than watching it imminently, slowly get closer and closer. That's a pretty bad heist. That's actually a very bad heist.
Ho trovato un passaggio.
We are looking at a 443 fade
Allora
out.
aspetterete di più.
Which, yeah, is a bit below average. Not a whole lot, but a bit.
Marlow, tutto bene?
Sì, sto bene. C'è mancato poco, però. riuscirò a percorrere lo stesso tragitto per tornare indietro.
Cerca di stare attento, mi hai sentito?
Oh dear. I need to actually watch the time somewhat. Mostly because A, I'm hungry,
Trovato qualcosa?
but B, I'm going out this evening.
Ho trovato una fessura nella roccia.
So,
La farò esplodere.
one of the people, one of the graduates from work, one who's just slightly older than me, has been organising like a graduates evening out. Sound warning, by the way. And so I need to actually get myself like presentable at some point and be like, oh yeah, I should probably actually just like, you know, eat some lunch, make sure that I'm ready, because I think we're meant to be meeting at like 6,
Andiamo. Seguitemi.
which will not give me a whole lot of time.
Aiutami a salire.
So I'm going to need to make sure that I've actually got good clothes to wear, and I'm not just in like what I am at the moment, which is probably not the best of attire for like seeing people from work and all of that. Though to be fair, I am almost tempted to wear shorts. I'll probably not. I might, because it's still kind of warm. Like it's almost weirdly warm in the UK at the moment. In fact, it is weirdly warm. I don't really know why, but I'm also not really complaining because it's like a nice temperature. Actually, have a look. 43. I'm pretty happy I called that exactly from like 2.5 minutes ago. Yeah, even in the evening, it's meant to be like about 14 degrees. Which isn't obviously toasty, but it's like, it's not that cold. Even in summer, it'll sometimes get a bit below that in the evenings, or in the nights. But it's always a weird one going out, because for those of you who don't know, I don't drink. And so whenever I'm going out with people, it's always like, haha, you fellow alcohol drinkers. Hello, I am here drinking my water. Maybe my whatever. Had a lot of rain recently, but I wouldn't say it's been cold. Yeah, exactly. Lovely and sunny today. Yeah, we've got a fair few clouds, but it's still fairly sunny, which is nice. But yeah, initially I was like, hey, do you want to go out drinking? I was like, maybe not. And then they changed it to be drinks and mini golf. And all of a sudden, the mini golf is that's the deal sealer for me. I'm in. Mini golf,
Qualcosa di grosso.
have not played mini golf in probably about 10 years. So I'm up for it. It sounds dumb, and that's my sort of thing. But yeah, I'm not really the sort of person to just go out for drinks because, well, not drinking kind of puts a fairly swift stop to that.
Oh, cazzo.
Attenti a quello che toccate, non voglio niente di danneggiato.
Incredibile. Da quanto tempo credete sia qui?
Che cos'è? Una cabina.
Se è così, questa è una nave.
But on top of that, I've also got, there's like an athletics club rewards evening tomorrow evening.
Ehi, scusa, amico.
For once I'm actually doing a lot in the
Stiamo
evenings.
perdendo tempo. Diamo un'occhiata.
And that should hopefully be fun. Again, probably a lot of drinking, which like, not my style.
La Nisidora non è pronta per
But
qualcosa così.
even though I'm very, very unlikely to win anything, there are some people from my group who are quite likely to win things, so going along and supporting them mostly.
Sembra che abbiano
I don't actually know where it is though, which is minor problem. Why couldn't we have had this Neeks not yesterday, for God's sake, yester run,
forse hanno abbandonato
last run.
atterrati qui.
Lo vedo. Cazzo.
Si sono arrivati qui prima di noi. Perché questo posto non è stato registrato?
Beh, se sono ancora vivi, diritti di recupero addio.
Scopriamolo. Troverò il segnale e lo spegnerò. Non voglio che qualcun altro trovi questo posto.
Bit more to the
Foster,
right.
Heist, Controllate la caverna qui sotto.
Very nice. Perfect, in fact.
Questo cos'è? Non ho mai visto niente del genere.
Yeah, it's one thing that's always been a bit weird, in the UK for me at least. There's a very heavy culture around drinking. And I know it's probably like this in other places too. But especially at university, slightly less so now, now that I'm out of university.
Mix.
But it very much felt like I was not strictly being excluded, but I felt very excluded from things simply because I didn't drink. And it's like, hey, do you want to go out for drinks? Do you want to do this and then go to the pub afterwards, get drinks? So many like things revolving around alcohol. And it made it a very weird experience at times.
Che il segnale si sia interrotto. Sto arrivando.
Oh, come on, Mission 9, I just want you to be over at this point. I'll feel so much better when I'm past Mission 10, if it's a good Mission 10. If it's not, I don't know what I'll do. Eat some lunch. But I'm in almost that, like, that mode of anticipation where it's like, oh, I know it's coming. And my brain is just in, like, don't cock this up mode. It's actually a decent time. I suppose the kite was really, really good. Oh, game, be kind! Be kind to me. Oh, excuse me. God, why am I so yawny? I slept a reasonable amount. I'm just like, oh, exhausted already.
Fai attenzione! Aspetta!
There we go. If you'd fallen asleep because of Mission 9, it's finally over. You can return from your hibernation. Emerge from the lair of 15,000 blankets.
Dov'è?
Because now I've got Mission 10 for me to mess up.
Le comunicazioni, quali sono i codici per portarla qui in automatico?
Se vuoi sapere il resto, fammi uscire.
Pokes everyone awake like, come on.
Così allora sai dove trovarmi.
It's not been so long that you've died of old age. Nearly, but not quite.
Andiamo col piano B.
Qualunque cosa sia, ci sono anch'io.
Ok, da questa parte c'è qualcosa che potrà servirti.
Not quite. It's nearly bad enough to consider blasting weights,
Speriamo che funzioni.
but not
È un
quite
animale.
bad
Gli
enough.
animali hanno paura del fuoco.
Spero sia così.
Ho un piano per intrappolarlo. Prendi una navetta e raggiungi Riccardo nella torre Sister. Vi coordinerò da qui.
Okay, so Lorenz. The thing I'm going to change compared to last time is still play it fairly safe on the stairwell, but in the server farm, I need to not be afraid to flame Steve. And that's quite important, because last time I was really hesitant, I didn't know how to play it, and I ended up dying as a result, which lost me,
E Samuel si è d'accordo.
I don't know, roughly 40 seconds. But I need to cut that death. And then in Gemini, same thing. Oh, shoot. I need to not be afraid
Il disastro
of
imminente è già
using
successo.
some fuel on Steve.
Ora possiamo solo ammazzare
Now,
le
ideally, I
persone.
do still want to come out of Mission 10 with about 150 fuel. But it's okay to actually burst, to flame Steve a bit. Yeah, the Carrick's flame remote is always applicable. Right, let's turn off the music. And let's turn off the sound effects. Because, unfortunately, I do need to focus a little bit. Not much, but a bit. I should say, I need to autopilot a bit less than I have been. Because I'm going to be honest, outside of Mission 7, where I got a bit tilted, I have autopiloted 90% of this run, so it just kind of happened. There we go,
Sono
that's the
nella
beep.
torre Sistek.
We know that that's always going to be the alien. Once out of range, get moving. I may have even started running a tad early there, which might come back to bite us.
Quel mostro è qui.
Scappiamo e basta. Sentito? Andiamo.
Listen.
Waits, quella bestia, come facciamo a chiuderla dentro?
La torre è in grado di processare composti di alto valore estratti dal gigante gassoso. I sistemi di prevenzione contro la pirateria sono ancora in funzione. La torre può essere sigillata, condotti, portelli, tutto. Quindi costruirai una gabbia intorno alla bestia e Riccardo la chiuderà dentro. L'entrata è
No beep is really good.
terminale della reception per aprire il portello.
That initial run has actually been a place we've been very fortunate in both our runs today. We've not had Steve actually show up there, which is so nice. I don't think he's actually around. There he is. That second beep was Steve. So I was actually okay to run for a bit there, as we are here. I take it back. Wait, what? He wasn't on the tracker? Oh no, okay, I see. I may have played myself there. Okay, that's really dumb, but at least it's only like 10-15 seconds.
Accesso manutenzione chiuso.
Okay, I'm not happy with this. Very unhappy with this. Can't tell anything here with the tracker, so we just have to play it safe. I would love to be able to just like lock Steve down consistently, but it's just not consistent enough. He's still right overhead. We can't trust the tracker at all here. Happy Friday? Aw, thank you, Amalgamine. I do appreciate it. How are you doing? I hope you're well.
Mi metti in comunicazione con Ripley. Sei già collegato. Ripley, c'è un comando di disabilitazione con cui avviare l'isolamento di emergenza.
Pretty good. Not perfect.
Scrivania della reception.
Riccardo,
Still
reception
can't
del
really
sito
do
è
much here.
chiusa.
Bel lavoro. Ora vieni verso la sala server. Vai piano. Devi solo attivarlo da lì e uscire. Tengo l'uscita aperta finché non arrivi. Poi chiudo la trappola.
I could have been a bit faster there with running. This is where mentally I've allocated a Flaming Steve. Doing well and getting ready for work? Nice. Enjoying great gaming. I would not call this great gaming. It is gaming of some form. No, I do appreciate that. Good luck in server room. It seems to be okay so far, which is really good. Way better than last time. Way, way better. Slightly dumb play early on in Lorenz, but that's fine. Immediately up. Wow, that's fast. We're 50 fuel down, which is fine. For a triple burst, that's not awful.
Riccardo, allora mi serve più tempo. Non ne ho di tempo.
Yeah, I could have given him 2 as he just dropped. I mostly autopiloted and just gave him 3 bursts. Wishing good luck for... Wait till he gets the energy, am I? Yeah. Well, I'm hoping the exit will actually be kind. Because, gosh, the exit can be all sorts of nasty. Oh, I should have reloaded. I'll take my bit of safe running then. And I'll just play this just steady. Yeah, I did not believe that tracker whatsoever there. Don't do it, Steve. Do not. Go. I have to here.
Dove vado?
I didn't even look to where to see where Jeremy is. Oh. Kind position? Or am I too slow? Don't shoot me! Don't shoot me! Okay. Oh. Oh my god. That was so close. That nearly went so wrong. Okay, that's good. That's actually really good. That's like a minute 15 off the last time. Stop running now. Chicken buns for lunch? Nice. Actually. I thought I had a beep there, but it was just a sound effect.
Ok, basta parlare, Wiz.
Not having those 2 cameras in play helps a lot. You've returned? Nice. Hope this one goes better. Yeah. We're definitely behind where I was last time, but Mission 10 is going significantly better. So we may actually be in roughly the same spot, which would be really nice. Steve is very aggro here though. He is really not happy with us. I do really want to hug this a bit though. I can do this. Yeah, that running opportunity is dicey. It's like almost there. So I did risk it there. Fortunately, I haven't been punished yet. This is not a running opportunity. But now it is. It still won't alert. Good to know. Thank you. don't do it. Don't think we're safe to run, but I really don't know. No, we aren't. Orbit identical to the Hundo. Yeah, it's just a good safe strat for Gemini. There's no real reason to reload here because he hasn't dropped yet. He might just auto drop soon though. I don't know how long he gives you in Gemini before the auto drop. But I would expect he would drop here.
Ok,
Ora cerca un posto chiamato Progetto KG348. Fammi sapere quando sei lì.
About now he comes active anyway, yeah. Makes a lot of sense. He's far enough away here though that we can run the whole way. A very steady mission 10, but we do cut the death. Not as fast as I would have liked, but
wait, ce l'ho fatta.
Ti segue ancora?
not
Penso di sì.
bad.
Ho un piano, va al laboratorio.
Steve, where are you? Life's faded.
It's baby month sneaky 376 jam.
Thank you very much for the sub. I really do appreciate that. 9 months. Madness. Also, Steve's a jerk with this pattern. I don't even know if this pattern's livable.
Wait, ci sono.
Okay, he's done it right. That's good enough. I'm going to make sure he drops here by using a burst of fuel. Just because that's got a much larger sound cone. Or sound range, not cone, excuse me. Come on, Steve. There we go. But yeah, thank you so much, Life's Faded. I really do appreciate that. 9 whole months. That's mad. I appreciate that so much.
Fatto! Vedo un picco di tensione. Ora ricolleghi i sistemi del
Decent hack. Nothing special, but decent.
nel laboratorio centrale. Contiamo su di te.
Let's get moving. Early drop. Good.
Mi dispiace, Ripley.
Means that we don't need to wait around, which is quite nice actually. Does use more fuel, but given that we used none in Gemini, when I had allocated one flaming of Steve, that's okay. I hear Steve in the vents actually, interestingly. That was such a greedy sprint from me. So unnecessarily greedy. Why did I even do that? I might be slightly cheeky here as well, because I will flame him. We do have the fuel for it. Wait for it. Wait. No longer wait. Oh ho ho ho! You do not do that to me. That was mean. No hiss, no anything, just bolting for us. Very, very mean. But we are up a minute 20. So, good luck for M10 by the way. Thank you. Right, let's quickly get the music back on. Sound alerts aren't yet on, simply because they take longer. And they are now. I didn't think I'd have enough time. So that is a very nice amount of time save. We are, however, still about a minute behind where I'd want to be. That being said, sub 3 is still barely on the menu. It still is reliant on no major mistakes, but it's possible. I'll put it that way. The silly mistake in Gemini was poor. Sorry, in Lorenz was very, very poor. I just need things like Mission 14 and Mission 16 to go well. Like, really well. That's a really early beep. You have to be kidding me. Where are you? It worked. What is this luck? This is low percent! In 3 out of the 4 I've had humans! So for anyone who doesn't know, spawning humans there is like between 1 and 2% of the time you'll get them. And in 3 out of my 4 previous runs, I've had humans there! Now for any mathematicians amongst you, that's, at best, according to our knowledge, somewhere around the 1 in 25,000 mark. To have 3 out of 4 of those be humans. Have I got that right? Roughly, yeah. Roughly around about there. As you may be able to imagine, I have not done 25,000 runs. The law of averages is not yet into play. In fact, this is attempt number 4. Or, well, 5 actually. Because I reset attempt number 4. Hey Priscilla, how you doing?
Gli androidi sono strani da quando sono arrivata qui.
No, stavolta è diverso. Hanno lasciato le proprie postazioni.
So, yeah, my luck is quite something. I believe I also hold the unofficial record for the most number of green minigames in a row. At 11. Which, for any of you mathematicians again, is 3 to the power of 11, or a third to the power of 11. Now, I wouldn't expect you to know that off the top of your head, and if you do, damn, I'm impressed. But I believe my calculations were that's roughly like 1 in 250,000. Oh! Right up the arse. Where are you? That's not good. That's really not good. I'm going to have to do that just so I don't take damage. No, hitting those guys in advance. Yeah, my luck is simultaneously amazing and awful, but it tends to be amazing in the worst sort of ways. Grab me. I'm so glad I waited. But that's what I mean when I say Nightmare Joes. Stuff like that, he walked into me for a full second before then going like, oh yeah, I can grab you. That is the Nightmare Joe I hate. Most of them are completely fine. Should have known there would be maths on a Jane stream. I mean, I can give you more maths if you want. I quite like maths. Sometimes. I don't like maths when it's not in my favour. And unfortunately in this game it does not seem to be in my favour very often. But no, the actual odds, what would it be? 3 to the power of 4 is 256. So 256 times by 256 gives us 1 in... that would give us 8... Wait, no, sorry. Yeah, no, that's right. 3 to the power of 5 is 243. I did it wrong. I did 4 to the power of 3. So we get 243 times 243 times 3. And that would give you the odds of getting 11 green minigames in a row. Fear that'd be a test. So 243 times 243, give or take, we'll round it to like 250 times 250. We can work that out by doing 25 times 25, which gives us 625. Add the 2 zeros on the end, you get 625,000. Oh, sorry, 65,200. Oh, sorry, 62,500. I can't do maths. You then times that by 3 to give us very approximately 1 in 200,000. There's a Joe around here. No test, please. The test will be the odds of spawns in all of Alien. Question number 4. What are the odds of getting humans in your way in Mission 6? 2 marks. You must show you're working. Question number 7. In Mission 7, what is the chance that Steve messes you up? In Novice and Nightmare, 3 marks. Please note, screaming will not give you full marks. 100%. Tick, 3 marks. He didn't sign up for maths tests. Little did you know, on the unfollow button, there's a maths test before you can unfollow. Wahahaha! I'd like to drop this class. There's a gap in the ratings. Yeah, I actually noticed that. I noticed that just after I'd gone past it, and I was like, oh, that's actually useful. What as if she can ban the streamer? Well. Not here, but definitely in other places. I'm gonna go to like everyone else's stream, and it's just gonna be, you've been banned by Chelsea. Reason, maths. Guy thinks I'm doing maths. I have unsubscribed from this channel because there was too much maths. It's gonna be changed to non-mathy. We need too little maths. 160. We're actually doing pretty well. Only he can stop. Oh god. Speaking about more math, no, I'm kidding. Don't worry. I can actually go on additional maths rants. Not rants, but fun things. But I shall spare you from the maths for now. Tomorrow, mahaha. I've probably forgotten about all the maths anyway, so you'll be safe tomorrow too.
È scattato l'allarme di sicurezza nei laboratori vicini. Gli ascensori sono fuori uso. Sembra che i sintetici della Sixon non apprezzino molto che un modello Wayland Yutani se ne vada in
No, now that we know. There'll be a viewer count of just like 0. Like reason maths. Instead, I'll talk about chemistry. I actually very nearly did chemistry at university for my degree, because I really enjoy chemistry. Back in school, when I was 16, I was chosen to compete in the chemistry Olympiad, which is kind of like a national thing. Teams do chemistry, related practicals and tests, and person with the highest score wins, essentially. And I was pretty proud when I was 16, because I was the only person to actually get a perfect score in the test part. And I was like, damn, yeah. But my teachers were kind of annoyed, because that year the competition was being hosted at the school I was at. And the teachers afterwards said to me, or just like while we were walking, they were like, yeah, it didn't feel good to give you 100% because it felt like we were just being biased. And I was like, what? But I still got 100% in the end. I did say, like, don't be a dick. If I got everything right, I got everything right. You're telling me that I shouldn't have revised as hard as I did for that test? That's the only time I actually did well in any of those, like, Olympiads. Was that really a stun baton charge beneath us? Jesus. Like quadratic equations and calculus. So, math rant, I'm terribly sorry, but I'm also not. Another flare! Oh my god. So, when I was like 13, 14, I accidentally figured out just the binomial distribution. And for anyone who's like, the fuck, what wizardry are you speaking? Essentially, it's a way of calculating square numbers, cubed numbers. Essentially, if you have a number and you want to raise it to the power of something, let's say you want to figure out 2 squared, how do you do that? Well, what do you do? And I managed to accidentally figure that out in my own time, which I was like, ha, this is kind of cool. Poor James getting told to suck for once. Hey dears, how you doing? Times like good? They're okay. They're not great yet. We've got more stuff coming along that will determine whether it's a good time or not. But no, I loved chemistry, and the main reason I didn't take it was actually just because I didn't want to like lose my passion for it. And it's the same with everything when it comes to university for me. I didn't want to do something that I loved in case I just fell out of love with it. And that was just like the entire story for why I ended up doing what I did in university. Come on, androids. Good enough. I want to be optimistic, yeah. We'll find out a lot more in Mission 14. Mission 14 is really like the vibe check for the run, because so much can go wrong in Mission 14. But yeah, initially when I was applying for university, I was actually considering 4 different subjects. Chemistry, physics, psychology, and music. Now, people who have been here a little while will know I'm very musical, I adore music, and so I wanted to continue with that. Psychology I've always adored, and chemistry and physics I was very good at school and enjoyed. We've become politicians and being chased into the coal line. That is one hell of a way of getting rid of me. Rather than phoning Bezos, we're just gonna rule the country. Honestly, you two would probably do a very good job as politicians, so you'd get my vote. You do a lot better than what's currently going on. But no, I always have thoughts about, like... I always wanted to go into teaching. Oh, I shouldn't have gone here. I barely got away with that. This is the first time I've actually gotten to this point in a low percent run and been on full health. With the amount of bullshit you're talking. I like that. I've been told I'd be a good politician because I can talk confidently. And I don't think I'd be a very good politician. In fact, I think a politician is quite possibly one of the last jobs I would ever want. Because I wouldn't be interested in, like, what seems to go on 90% of the time of just, like, funding, all of that stuff and all, I don't know. You know, that old politics stuff. Oh dear, I need to get moving. I may have messed this up. Please! We're good. We're still damageless. Was that really a stun baton charge? Oh my god, I've seen 3 stun baton charges and like 16 flares. Couldn't live with self-loathing, yeah. I just couldn't live with like the immorality of what goes on in politics. I just feel bad. I'm fine being a leader. Like, I tend to just lead things in general. Because people are like, hey, you can talk, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake. Not looking forward to guide someone through the droid room when they come to this part. Yeah, that droid room, like, taking it slow is a very good idea. In a low percent speedrun, that droid room is hell. It's so bad. I hate it. Oh. There's the music. There it is. I don't know why, I was just feeling like this music. I haven't heard it in a while, and so I was like, you know what? We're gonna have some good music. I need to add more music to my playlist. Even though it's like 8 hours long. Could never be a politician, even if you solved all the world's problems. Half the country still hate you and blame you for something stupid like something I told. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, with all of I would be a terrible politician. Do we have a Joe there? No. If you get blocked by this door, by the way, just stand back a bit. Because it'll door troll you otherwise. It's very funny, but it will always door troll you if you're standing too close. I probably should have reloaded there. Very nice. Avoiding that first alarm makes such a difference. Oh, I nearly activated that way too early. Oh my god, that would have been bad.
Sei Marco, giusto? Sì. Sono Taylor, dirigente di settore.
This looks much better in terms of resources. We don't seem to have anywhere near as much like excess, which is really, really good. It shows that I'm actually utilizing my resources, but still not relying on like a down-to-the-wire strategy. I do have excess in terms of like, I could have fired some more revolver shots. I really like that.
Questa conversazione
Go back, give it a spanking. Give it a good old slap.
voglio dei dati. La posizione del planetoide in cui avete trovato.
I feel like we've lost time because I had to wait for so many of the gas vents, but no complaints from that mission 12. Like, really no complaints. A lot went well. We're still on full health, which is fantastic.
Ho sentito.
I love this music. It's so good. Nice. And only losing a couple seconds. Really happy with that. Really, really happy with that, actually. What's the music? It is the Trials Fusion main theme. A game which I've never actually played, but I heard the music somewhere and was like, that's pretty good. Back in a bit, need to nip out for lunch. No worries. Have a good lunch.
Apollo ha impedito a Samuels di disattivare l'isolamento a distanza, ma una volta dentro dovrebbe parlarti almeno.
Oh, okay, fine, fine, fine. Yeah, I know my music is fairly faint in general. I do fairly deliberately keep it fairly faint, just so it is like background.
Ok, vediamo.
But weirdly, it comes across a fair amount louder for me than it does for you guys, which is a bit weird. I don't really understand it.
Fai dei respiri profondi, ti comprimi. Facile.
Non verrò lassù a tirarti fuori se rimani
Don't mind it faint. Yeah, exactly.
infiltrarsi in un condotto attivo farà male però, no?
Dovrò togliere la corrente.
'Cause, I'd much rather that the game is more audible than the music.
Riccardo, il condotto è disattivato per ora.
Sono riuscito a vedere i diagrammi di Apollo. Credo che tu possa usare il condotto della turbina per entrare. C'è un interruttore di emergenza per spegnere.
We might get...
ma non dura molto.
Nah, we did get bombed slightly. I need to optimize that.
La turbina è spenta.
Good music.
Se i sistemi di Apollo si surriscaldano, si riavvieranno.
Need to hear the game properly? Yeah, that's understandable.
Sarà davvero dura.
Buona fortuna. Ripley. Man mano che vai in profondità il tuo segnale radio diventa più debole. Ti perderò presto.
Ottimo. Tieni le dita incrociate.
Yeah, I really like having music. It's mostly for me, honestly. Just so I don't get too stressed. Because I know I get very, very stressed at times when playing this game. And so it just helps me breathe a bit. Nice. Good blind turn.
Idee sulla prossima mossa.
Non ti sento, Ripley. Il segnale è debole.
Riccardo. Attenzione. Se mi senti, trova un altro modo per comunicare. Qualcosa non va con il mio auricolare.
please actually despawn? Panicked escape when you first saw the alien. Ah. Please despawn. You twat. That's really annoying. This can get very, very bad now.
Se riaccendo uno di questi dovrebbe farmi accendere i sistemi di sicurezza di...
So we automatically lose about 10 seconds, simply because we have to go this side. I need to think of this in the old way. We need to go to the left here. So yeah, you have to crawl for a lot longer in this tunnel, which is really annoying. Like, a lot longer as well. This tunnel alone loses you like 5 seconds. Really? Wow, that was awful. And now you actually have to run further to get to the hack as well. So going that side does lose a considerable amount of time. Yeah, we kind of have to just roll with it. It's unfortunate, but I can't believe that guy has been there twice. So, for reference, the Joes are meant to despawn. They're not meant to actually follow you into that room. Which, yeah, it's very, very annoying. Wow, I really haven't used much of my battery. Flashlight battery. I thought I'd used way more. Oh, I turned it off when I was with Axel. Gotcha. I turned it off super early for some reason. I forgot about that. Bonk. Probably losing a bit of time here, but that's because we had to go the incredibly inefficient way. Yeah, losing a fair bit. Probably about 10 seconds. 8.5, I'll take it. Only 8.5. Oh, well, I suppose had I gone the good way, I would have been able to save loads of time there. Good to know, good to know. Mission 14 though. This is where things start getting a little bit spicy.
Mi dispiace Riccardo, ma sono un pesce piccolo. Io Samuel Steak. Lo siamo tutti. Se scoprissimo qualcosa...
So things can get really nasty here. We're essentially just praying they don't. Grab it later, nice. Yeah, I really like it. Maybe I should have hit further over. I think I hit way too far to the left there. He might be a bit too close now. Wait for the thing. It may look weird that I'm running in like a very off-route direction, but the main reason for that is I really don't want to accidentally just alert him by running in his hearing range. Because if we accidentally aggro that Joe, it's really not fun at all. Things just go bad very, very fast. Yeah, I'm not seeing any dropped frames at all. My end looks good to me. It's good, nice. I don't actually know what to do here. Because I can't go out because he will see me. This is really not good. Good, he's turned around. You have to kind of just play this slow. Because we have no solution to this android. I mean, technically we do have the stun baton, but we really want to save it. The reason we really want to save the stun baton is it's invaluable in mission 16. Oh really, Nightmare J? Oh really? Jerk. Yeah, that rail is actually the whole reason I do peek there. Ever since I learned that rails do block line of sight, surprisingly useful. Do I save her? I shouldn't need to save her. I'm not going to. It's really bad if things go wrong, but the time loss anyway if things go wrong is also awful. For this trick, make sure that you're silent. You want to hit that so the Joe goes almost diagonally, slightly diagonally. And that's just so his cone of vision is just ever so slightly out of range of us. You can see he's walking at a very slight angle. That angle matters. It doesn't seem like it should matter, but it does matter. And here we just walk into this cutscene. It actually automatically picks it up. You don't need to press E on that bolt gun. And here we play it a bit slow and go. We go because we saw him on the left. He can be in this door, but he can also be slightly more towards the right. And if he's slightly in the right, he can insta-grab you, which of course is really bad. Deals over half our health. Run is almost over on the spot.
Riccardo, sei mai stato al reattore?
Okay. We are in a good position currently.
Una vita fa.
Time looks decent. It's not great, but it's definitely decent. I would like to be about -6, if not -7, -8 by this point. But we take what we get. I was considering a reload there.
Sono in cima al nucleo del reattore.
Yeah, the way just NPCs in general see you is actually quite interesting in this game.
Dovrò
Good, no
esplorare
ammo
il
bug.
lato inferiore.
Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, now. Ah, he's got a slow reaction. It's actually worked out fairly well. But what we can do here is just run around him. Look. Oh, this pattern is evil! We really want to get past this guy. 2. We have to wait. Now. Ah, that's really bad. Okay. Do I accept that punch? Damn, I thought I waited long enough. I think I accept that punch. I accept that punch. I'd lose so much time. And I'm not in a position where I can lose time. Let's not die in Nest. So dying in Nest is not my concern in Mission 14. Dying outside of Nest is my concern.
Riccardo, sono tutti qui. Persone scomparse, tutte. Sono incazzate in una specie di nido. Ci sono delle uova, sembra un allevamento.
It's the bit after Nest which is really scary, which seems odd, like, why is that scary? But that's the part where things just go wrong. That being said, Nest is still definitely a threat.
Chiudo le comunicazioni, Riccardo.
Good. Actually, a very good good place to save here. Because what you can do is just run immediately after. You lose a little bit of time. No drop is concerning. There we go. He just took a while to catch up. Drop. This is always fairly close. But we are good. I'm not hearing the second drop. Forcing that up vent is actually surprisingly important. We'll have a scripted alien walk across here. We do not want to really do much to him though. I'm very glad I saw that tail. What does hitting the wall do? Good question. I need to focus. Where are you? Go up. Good. This is really dangerous though. Really unfortunate. So hitting the wall, because the alien cannot access us in that spot, it forces the alien to up vent. I need to focus though. I do apologize. Good, good, good. Yeah, so being able to force the alien to up vent is really valuable. Because the alien wants to go to where the noise is, but doesn't see any way of doing it because he can't go through those small crouch vents. So he assumes that if he up vents, he'll be able to drop on the player. So he immediately goes to up vent and then checks and sees, oh wait, I can't actually drop on the player here. What do I do? How many do we have? Just 2 here. Okay, we've got 3 here. Perfect. Yeah, exactly. The game doesn't predetermine a drop point. It just says like, okay, hey, I can't get to the player from here, therefore I've got to up vent. This Joe is actually in a pretty good place. Good. Very good minigame. Not good minigame. Again, slow. I'm kind of curious as to where those 3 Joes ended up. Because I don't really know. They're just doing their own thing at the moment. Which could be a problem. They should hopefully come down here. Ah, I went the wrong way. My bad. Come on. There we go. Wow, I think he was really close to me. Green minigame gets a bad rep. You're not wrong, honestly. There's a more stable strat you found? Nice. I will need to poke your mind on that. Okay, we're just letting these fellas burn. Because there's an android this side. There's an android here, there's an android there. Burn, please. I said please burn. I'm running out of space. Please burn. There we go. Burn. Okay, I was worried for a sec. Much better, mission 14. Much better. Why do they burn? Good question. So they burn after you do the final lever because there's so much electrical current in the air that it just fries their circuitry. BB! Bless you. Thank you so much for gifting us up to Dares. That's incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much. Ah, where's my mash? Better. Yeah, BB, thank you so much. That's incredibly kind of you. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for the follow as well. I do appreciate it. That's such a bad joke. That's like dad joke. That caught me so off guard. I was not ready for dad joke. That being said, some of the funniest jokes are just like those really dumb ones that are just total dad jokes. Lame jokes is a specialty. How are we doing? Bit under 400 flamethrower fuel, which is less than I'd like. Good for everything else, though. Very good for everything else. Not quite sub 1630. Disappointing. Still far behind where I want to be. Oh, you're there, okay.
Ci sono, ma è tardi. Apollo si è ristabilito dopo lo svuotamento del reattore e ha bloccato le comunicazioni esterne.
Continuazione. Perché mi hai mandato qui?
Siamo bene, Henry. Prima di andarmene, il sistema ha rilevato una nave in avvicinamento a Sevastopol. Credo sia la Nesidora. Marlow è riuscito a inviare i codici per il richiamo
Nice pattern. I like it.
quando le comunicazioni erano aperte.
Dobbiamo raggiungerla. Sta attraccando.
No, ma sta stazionando qui vicino. Vai alla zona delle ambulanze.
Don't swiftly screw me over for saying nice pattern.
Andranno bene.
Ok.
Should be good. We're very deliberately running under that vent, by the way. By running under a vent, provided Steve has not yet dropped, it prevents the alien from dropping from that vent briefly. Not forever, but briefly. Ah. Steve? Start off. Walk a bit. And now we're good. And there's no need to avoid vents here because A, we know Steve isn't in range. I'm concerned about that beep. But nothing's on the tracker still. And we've not given Steve any reason to drop. Come on! Oh my god, that's poor. So, he literally can't drop at the moment. Especially as he's not in range. He can drop out of range for reference, but given that we're not making noise, he doesn't have a reason to drop. That beep, if you just heard it there, is his cue that he's in range. But you've got so much time. Like, medical's really big, which is nice. So once he's out of range, you can basically just run the rest of the way. You do need to listen out. If you hear another beep, ideally you want to stop running. But I get that's not always practical.
Riccardo, mi senti?
Molto poco. Ripley, ti stai allontanando troppo. Il collegamento non reggerà per molto.
I don't want to, but I'm going to use my flamethrower on the hugger. I really, really want to preserve as much fuel as I can for mission 17 and mission 18. How did I get an 11:05? Did I die on, like, just after the tram or something? Because an 11:05 seems very slow. Blame Sega. Yeah, if you interact with that too quickly and mash too fast, your hand just goes invisible. In the speedrun, it's like the least of our concerns. It's like, yeah, sure, whatever. We do have a lot of fuel, which is nice. We're very good for shotgun shots, which is actually good. It means at the very end, we do have some leeway.
Riccardo, mi senti? Ho riattivato i
They kept funding on AI support, yeah.
I portelli dovrebbero aprirsi e speriamo torni alla luce. Ancora nessuna traccia di...
Also, I'm taking this mega slow, by the way. There's not even a chance that I'm playing this super risky.
Marlo, dove
Come on.
Marlo?
Out you come. Yeah, I mean, this game's already amazing, but with a bit more, well, a bit more fine-tuning, it could just be incredible. But I think really what would be cool is just more, more of the same, really. Like, I would love another game of this that is, it just basically reuses the engine. And you just add, like, more story, more content. Like, just add more levels, essentially. I think that would be super cool. And I would 100% pay for it. Like, essentially the DLC maps, but just as a standalone game, rather than just the individual levels. Right. I'm gonna grab another sweet, actually, and some more juice. Back in a sec.
Così il reattore diventerà una bomba atomica. Distruggerai la nave e la stazione.
Annienterà ogni traccia di quella creatura. Ripley è l'unico modo. Non posso lasciarla viva. E non la consegnerò alla compagnia. Per poi ricominciare tutto da capo.
Ascoltatemi, perché fate così? Fermo, Marlo! Marlo, per favore.
Sai quello che ha fatto tua madre? Aveva capito, se fosse stata qui mi avrebbe aiutato. E secondo te avrebbe permesso alla compagnia di rintracciare quella bestia? Nessuno deve sapere.
Ci sono delle persone ancora vive sulla stazione. Marlo!
Foster non è viva. Era mia moglie. La amavo. E l'ho uccisa.
Oddio, troppo tardi. È già iniziato. Taylor, devo fermare il sovraccarico, devi aiutarmi. Vai a quella console.
Oh, there we go.
Apri i sistemi di fusione così posso
Hey,
lavorare.
Sloth, how you doing?
Devo mandare energia.
Long stream, yeah.
Cerca le lettere A, U.
Just wake up every 2 hours to Steve invading your dreams. Oh no. Gosh. Yeah, I do hope you get some good sleep eventually. Because gosh, yeah.
Ok, stai andando bene, Taylor. Ora sposta il terminale di manutenzione da auto a manuale. Quindi,
Focus on suspense. Yeah, honestly, I'd love more suspense.
tutto qui.
I think that some of the shooty bits are actually some of the weaker bits. Especially when I was playing the game casually. My favourite parts were Mission 5, 6, 7, where you essentially didn't have many resources. Things like Mission 17, I was just like, let's get this over with. Just like, here's a bit of flame, there's a bit of flame, everywhere's a bit of flame. Which was good, but I think there was a bit too much of it near the end. Salty from getting grabbed. Excuse me. I would love more craftable devices. More craftable devices which aren't like directly explosive related. I didn't even know what it could be, but because you've already got like very clear-cut devices. But I would love if there were like, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 more devices. But yeah, more sneaky bits. Obviously from a speedrunning perspective, forced sneaky bits are really bad. But having sneaky solutions to things, really good. When it's forced, it becomes a bit more tedious. Take Mission 2, which is very much, you're forced to just sneak around for 90% of the mission. Or, well, with all of Axel. And that gets a bit tedious. You can see all the concept versions of the weapons and it's really cool. Damn, that's cool. Definitely had more ideas. Yeah, I've heard. Okay, this is where you put your hands together and pray that the game is kind to me, so I don't get really sad again.
Sebastopol, mi ricevete? Abbiamo appena visto saltare in aria una nave a tribordo. Ha fatto fuori un
Whole subplot with Ransom. Yeah, I did hear about that somewhere. Can't remember where.
Per favore, diteci cosa succede. Possiamo
Music's
prendere
going off.
Lascio aperto il canale. Passo e chiudo.
Abbiamo compagnia. È arrivata la sicurezza della Season. Tieni pronte le armi, non sono facevoli. Mi sono dovuto nascondere sotto una scrivania.
Che cosa vogliono?
La Torres. Hanno sentito la trasmissione, vogliono contattarla e credo progettino di prenderla con la forza.
Shotgun.
Possono farlo?
No, le comunicazioni
Shotgun.
sono ancora chiuse. Stai alla larga da loro comunque sono pericoli.
I didn't actually think that hit us. Oh my god, that's nasty. Stop shooting me! It's all long-range shots. What? I refuse to believe that we took that much damage.
Riccardo!
I am livid about that.
Ha danneggiato gli stabilizzatori orbitali. Precipiteremo. Sto cercando di contattare la Torres, ma le comunicazioni sono
Oh, that is so annoying.
attaccare fottuta. La Torres è l'unica speranza.
I knew he was around that corner. Ah, that's so annoying. I suppose the humans must have been closer than I gave credit to. Because we did take a fair few shots, but I thought they were max range, which is only like 2%. Yeah, that last one was short range shotgun. I suppose it did add up, yeah.
Abbiamo compagnia. È arrivata la sicurezza della Season. Tieni pronte le armi, non sono facevoli. Mi sono dovuto nascondere sotto una scrivania.
That looks more normal.
La Torres. Hanno sentito la trasmissione, vogliono contattarla e credo progettino di prenderla.
No punch, good.
Li possono fare?
No, le comunicazioni sono ancora chiuse. Stai alla larga da loro, comunque sono pericolosi e disperati.
Where are you, where are you, where are you? You're not there. I see. Stop shooting me. That's bad. We're really low. Actually, I have no clue what our health is. I mean, we're alive, so I'll take it, but... I'm still annoyed about that burst death. I should have used a burst of flamethrower fuel, but I was just so worried about not having enough for 17 and 18. We're low, I know that, but I just don't know how low.
C'è un osservatorio vicino ai telescopi, vero?
We do still have an adequate amount of fuel, but it's on the low side now. No way to heal, and we're not allowed to heal, we're not allowed to loot. That's low percent. We do have a lot of shotgun ammo. Only Giga Chad's and me. Cax is just the Uber Chad. One step above. Rumor has it that Carrick's has a 235 all missions NMG novice, but chooses not to submit it to make other people feel better about themselves. Rumor has it that Carrick's actually has a 234 NMG Nightmare. But rather than submitting it to NMG, he submits it to no CC. Rumor has it that Carrick's once found a stable Mission 7, but decided that it would make the game too easy. Rumor has it that Carrick's actually just runs on console, just to make the playing field slightly slightly easier. You can just do them forever, and it's just great. It doesn't get old. Hey, Nakadan, how you doing? Rumor has it that Carrick's completed a 100% run by only picking up 2 items.
Grazie a Dio. Riccardo, l'ho trovata.
Ora devi allineare manualmente le parabole con la posizione della Torres.
Fatto. Esco fuori.
Oh, come on, spacewalk. There's still potential to save a good amount of time, but I think sub 3 is basically dead at this point.
Posso sbloccare l'entrata da qui. Dammi un secondo. Ecco, fatto.
It's a Chuck Norris type joke territory. It really is. But it just works so well, which is the best thing. Like, you can just say like dumb stuff and it just works. Rumor has it when you go into nightmare mode, rather than entering a nest full of aliens, you just get a nest full of Carracks. Who would win? All of the aliens, 1 Carracks. Worried about HP, you cannot smack the glass. Steve will kill both teams, but you have to kill Jeremy. Got it. Yeah, I think I have to do that. I don't really have any choice, because what happened really. That punch in reactor was unfortunate, but I couldn't really reload. I would have lost so much time. I would have lost like a minute and a half, and that's just, I can't really have that. So we roll with it. I'm very scared for mission 17, honestly, because I kind of have to burst 5 times, and that leaves me with very little fuel for mission 18. Oh, sorry, not 5 times, 9 times. And I don't really know. Character percent mod. Oh my god, that would be amazing. I would actually finally play modded AI if you just modded the alien to Carrack. You'll give Marek ideas. You wasted 2 weeks to clip you getting out of your chair to make a GIF. That's amazing. Dedication. Dedication at its finest. Oh my god. There we go. One time you had fast walk here? Jeez. Yeah, no one's found a good way. Or, well, no one's even really found a way of getting fast walk here. There are ways of getting out here without the spacesuit, but the game soft locks when you get to the coordinates inputting sequence, because the camera just goes weird. Good. That was actually surprisingly clean. Doing that efficiently is actually much harder than it looks. It's one of the few bits in the game that looks really easy, but is actually surprisingly hard. Because there's no buffer system in certain points of this game. Specifically, whenever you come off the handle or a lever, there is no buffer system. If you input an action before you're able to act, it gets deleted. Off of certain things there is the ability to buffer inputs, which is actually quite useful. But off that, you need to essentially time each one of those camera movements or player movements. Here, by the way, you can just hold right and press E. You can actually press E whenever. It might get picked up slightly. There you go. And the game just doesn't do anything. It will only actually let you input the correct coordinates. I can't speak today, goodness me. I suppose I have been live for like, what, 5.5 hours, so I guess at least a minor excuse. Man, I wish I hadn't have just like sucked massive ass in mission 7. This run would have been so much nicer. That being said, I am fairly glad I just kept on going. Is there a low strat for low percent? Yeah, it's basically regular low. It looks terrifying though.
Torres, qui è Ripley che parla dalla stazione. Mi senti, Verlaine? Ripley, che cazzo sta succedendo laggiù? Niente di buono, Torres.
Let's update the splits with more reasonable ones first. Well, hopefully we can get to the end of the game. There is no guarantee in low percent. We may get soft locked in mission 18. Welcome back, Chelsea. How was lunch? Getting past humans is difficult. Yeah, exactly. You need to essentially get the humans to get there, but then also have steep drop to kill them all, which is, as you may imagine, difficult. No, I believe Carrick does those in his Nightmare Low percent runs too, which is mad. Absolutely mad. And no flares, yeah, exactly. So it makes it a real challenge. And then, if anyone hasn't seen it, at the top, just above the door, look carefully, just slightly, because you might see a little friend. Did you see it? That little friend actually has a little bit of an appearance in a second. Right, I'm most certainly saving her. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Riccardo, preparati a spostarti, ci mandiamo. Riccardo,
Oh, okay. How do I do this? Now the issue is I don't know how much health I have. I just know I'm fairly low. This human normally gets munched pretty quick. Steve? Okay, you are on munching duty. Steve, kill the goddamn human. Is he going up? He's not, is he? Ah, okay, fine. Show me those hands. Show me those hands. Really slow, but we haven't taken damage, which is the important part. I couldn't tell if he'd killed the second human or not. I only saw him kill one human, which is why it took so long there before trying to actually get him up and killing the last human. Door is closed. I need to listen.
Riccardo.
The second we hear that hiss, we walk. Safety save.
Un altro l'ha visto. C'è niente, qualcosa di fuori. Questo movimento.
Hands. Show me those hands. This is hard. No! How did that miss? I could have sworn I hit him dead on there. Damn it, that's so annoying. Yeah, I did save. I really need this time though, because sub 3 is looking not very doable at the moment. One shot, fine. Miss, good. Kill that human. Okay, finally. Oh, I don't think it's doable. Oh. I don't think it's doable. Good. Very good. I'm not sure if you saw based on my expression, but I was like, oh, okay. I was not ready for that to just drop the human. What's going on? This is a really weird pattern. I don't like it. You up or down? You're up. What is going on here? This is so weird. I hate this pattern. But this is incredibly generous. If you shoot early enough, then he's still out of range of the shotgun, so he can't actually hear it. Same with this, as we've just reloaded. He's still actually out of range. And as we've never made him drop, he shouldn't come down. But this pattern is bizarre. I've never seen it where he's just not here. That's marvelous. Okay, I'm very glad I reloaded there. I did not know I had no shotgun shots. Steve not being here is fantastic. There we go, finally in range. Oh, he was over there! That makes so much sense! I mean, it doesn't. Like, why the hell is he there? But I was wondering, like, normally he's around this bit, but he was just over, like, way over that way. That makes so much sense. Hopefully that wasn't enough running to make him drop. Doesn't look like it was. Now we watch and carefully. He hasn't dropped, so it is safe to walk here. He will not auto-drop. But we watch the tracker carefully. You see, he doesn't auto-drop. And now we run. He only auto-drops if you've already made him drop. So not having a drop there at all is very, very valuable. Good, and definitely taking a safety save. Oh, I completely forgot about character's advice last time of drag the Joe over before the save. Come on. Come on. Now we allocate 3 bursts here, because we kind of need Steve to go away. There's no good way of getting rid of him. Please go away. Stop being a massive jerk. Look at that! What is that? Just diving for me. Honestly. Oh, that's not good. Okay. Yes. Slightly surprised he didn't drop. He is in that bend. Okay. Should still be on the usual pattern. Yeah, you have to be so careful to not pick up something by accident there. It's also fortunate that I did still have the bolt gun shot. Should hopefully be good to run here. I actually don't know. Here, the flashlight is just used because it's dark. Like, unironically. It's not for a strategy or anything, it's just dark. Oh. That's fine. That's not fine. Might be fine? Good, okay. That could have been very, very bad. Keycard. I'm going to do patented dumb James strats. Once you pass the vent, you're fine, yeah. I have seen him try and get in the vent that you come from once, and that's terrified me ever since. I've just not wanted that to happen. It's like, please. Actually sliding, I know. Okay, so here, Carrick said flame. Good. And then I will believe in Carrick's. I have faith. Carrick's, I don't have faith in you. No, I do actually believe this does work. After Gen he's active, yeah. I don't actually know what to do after the generator. Really? You dropped that? What do I do here? Sod it. This is actually a very good place to save anyway. I hope this despawns him. I have no idea if it does. If not, I'll just have to burn the fuel. He's going up. Okay, he is not going up. Go up. Good. I hate that. We can still save time. Do not like. I'm actually going to do this. What? What do you mean? 3 bursts to the face while shotgun stunned? And he's just like, nah, you're good. We're doing it this way. That is actually fiendish. Nightmare defenders are currently in shambles. I'm sorry, but that is a true Xeno dub. Oh my god. Fine, well, we're out. We're losing time now, which is so bad. We don't have time to lose, that's the thing. Like, that death was not okay. On multiple levels, but mostly on the time level. Ah. Nightmare Defenders never said that M17 doesn't have RNG. No, it's not the RNG, it's mostly that atrocity that Steve committed. I'm actually going to play this ultra safe and just run all the way around here. I'm not taking fire damage. I refuse. Okay, we are losing like 30 seconds. Fine, fine. This makes it very close now. Yeah, if we take a death, I will be very sad now. Very, very sad. Oh, I don't like this time. We are 1 second off. If I can save any time in M18, we're good. Lead into the fair. Do not take fire damage. Might kill us. That's a very nice blue hack. We're low on fuel. Oh no. Okay. We'll see what we can do to make this work. Vent, there we go. No one saw that. I didn't just entirely get the position wrong for that last one. Steve, get out of range. I'll risk it. Shotty, I believe, is reloaded. Yep. Interestingly, I didn't hear the beep there, I just thought that Steve would be in range. I'm going to attempt what I did last time, which worked surprisingly well. Hands. This is not good. That was a bit close. That was close. The reason that was so close was because they didn't hands up at the same time. If they had, it would have been so much smoother. Breathe. One thing I will not be going for is hug boost of any kind. Simply because I'm worried about taking the fire damage. I believe I'm good for fuel. Let's go. Through here and back. Oh, that's bad. That's really bad, actually. We should stick ourselves back in the wall. We're going to try and get the shotty here. Good. Now we run. Amanda's neutral, I know, right? 42, perfect. Literally perfect. We've got one extra burst. If anyone even attempts to jinx this, naughty corner awaits.
Fammi solo uscire viva da qui. C'è mancato qua.
Avoid the fire. I should not be walking this fire. Amanda is I don't think this is quite a PB, annoyingly. I think we're just short. I don't actually remember what my time was. Yeah, I know it's a low 258. Oh, I know my PB was a 258. I don't know what. Yeah, you can skip the second tram. It's fairly tight, but you can do it. This mission's actually full of lots of small tricks like that, which is really easy to do, by the way. You just hold forwards and sprint when you go on the ladder. Very, very easy to do. Come on! Move those legs, Ripley! Here it doesn't matter if we take fire damage, because our health actually is scripted to go up to 40% or somewhere around there. Enough so that you can take fire damage, which good enough to me. So finally we no longer need to worry about our health. Damn, considering I lost 3 minutes in M7, this time isn't bad. Oh, we're not done though. We are far, far, far from done. The question arises, is this going to be a PB? Now my PB from memory was a 258.34. Can we beat it and actually PB? While losing 3 minutes in M7. It's going to be close, I'll tell you that. Imagine that's in hospital. It's like, so I'm afraid you're very close to death. We're going to throw you down an elevator shaft. What? Don't worry, it gets you to 40%. You may have a broken bone or two after this, but it will fix your kidney infection. Isn't that the entire profession of chiropractors? I don't think they're meant to be throwing people down elevators. But, yeah, pretty much. Trust me! Just believe. Oh, I hope we get fast walk. I've not had fast walk in like 6 attempts now. It's been kind of dumb. I've not had fast walk in a long time. Also, don't actually kill me on pins this time. I know I ask for it sometimes. Don't kill me on pins. Good. Good. Okay. Please! I would like to request one fast walk, please. Also lunch, because I'm really hungry. And I've got to head out in like 2 hours. So, we don't question these things. Please, game. Please. Please give it to me.
Verlaine, sto andando sul ponte.
That feels good.
Verlaine.
Should be a 2:57.26 based on my splits. $2:58.86.